The Wally Show podcast is our daily radio show heard live through the WayFM app each morning and hosted by Wally, Gavin, and me, Betty Rock. For more fun, be sure to connect with us at wayfm.com/Wally.
The Wally Show podcast is brought to you by Colorado Christian University Online, where you can earn a degree online just like Betty Rock. You can learn more at ccu.edu/Wally.
Who's that wonderful girl? Could she be any cuter?
Well, she could be a bit nicer. It's News-ish with Betty Rock on The Wally Show.
It's ironic that we have that as an opening because I'm going to talk about bullying.
Okay, I did write that. You're right.
Yeah.
I see it now.
Now, Wally, would you say that you were the bully or the bullied?
Oh, like in high school?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 100% the bullied. I mean, I was under 5 feet tall, not good looking, not athletic. I had a lot of things working
Bless your
against
heart.
me. Oh,
now,
yeah.
if you were caught bullying someone smaller than you,
Yeah.
what would have been the consequences?
That would have been an infant because I was that small. What
would your parents done?
Oh, they would have been so disappointed in me. But it does happen because everybody looks for someone worse than them, in essence, down the chain when you're a kid because you're just trying to survive.
Right.
And so, yeah, I'm sure there were kids that I was not nice to either, for sure.
But I think that the repercussions of bullying have changed a bit from your day compared to now. Because in the state of Tennessee is the first state to make it where if you are caught bullying someone in school or online, then you are going to get your license suspended, and it could be up to a year.
That's fascinating because when you drive as a kid, that's your independence, that's your freedom. And so a lot of times, you're like, what do you do to punish these kids? And they don't get punished at home a lot of times because a lot of times the biggest bullies are also bullied at home, and it's a mess,
Right.
And so if the government steps in and says, well, this is the punishment for this, maybe that would actually curtail some of it somehow.
Right, because you can imagine if you had to hitch a ride with your younger sibling or you have to hitch a ride with your mom or your dad, that's embarrassing.
Because then you're getting bullied. Like
Yeah.
it's a very interesting thing, like how they would enforce this. I think it's a great idea.
I do too, and they did say too that this is just a step in the right direction. Ultimately, what should be happening is once you find out that your kid is bullying someone, the work needs to start at home.
100%.
And you ask, why are you doing this?
Right.
Where are you not feeling heard? Like all the things.
But most times it's like either A, the parents aren't connected anyway, and the kid gets away with whatever they want, or they don't know. And so sometimes they know, and then now they can make changes. But a lot of times they defend their kid. My kid's not a bully.
Right.
My kid's not a bully.
But
like,
think about this. The power is now being handed back to the bullied.
Yeah.
So like if you had this power, I have a feeling you would have been calling on everyone.
No one in the senior class at my high school would have been driving that year. Like, that's how bad it was
and then
for me.
you'd be going around, you need a ride?
Yeah.
You need a ride?
Sorry, can't. I don't ride with losers. No, yeah, exactly. Honestly, in all seriousness, I really do feel bad for parents that go through this with a kid that gets bullied.
Yes.
Because it's brutal now. Like back when I was a kid, you would have kids that picked on each other. You get in a fist fight in the parking lot, and I mean that's what it was. It was just dumb high school. Now the ramifications are so much more serious, and you got kids losing their lives, and you got kids that are suffering mentally, as a result of this, and it's horrible. And parents go to the school, and the school does nothing. Like I cannot even imagine, because I would take the law into my own hands, and then that's not good.
No,
because you get so frustrated by it, and so anything we can do to curtail this and have some sort of a punishment for it, and maybe to start stopping it would be amazing. So this isn't going to solve it, but it is like at least a good first step, and they're working towards making everybody's life a little better at school. Uplifting WayFM. This is the Wally Show. Hopefully you had a great long 4th of July weekend. And we like to catch up with you, find out how your weekend was. But we like to have fun with it, do it a little creative here. This is going to be you telling us the thing that only you can say about your weekend, okay? Something that no one else can say because it is unique to you.
Right. And I think I've got us all beat.
Oh, I like this. All right, what do you got, Rock?
So over the weekend, I found out that I have been feeding 2 fake geese.
Oh, no way.
You're
You're
not
like,
gonna
I can't believe we
it.
have geese in my neighborhood. And they don't, they're just always here.
They're beautiful. They're always together.
Oh my gosh. They mate for life.
Right?
Right.
And I'm like, that is beautiful. That is love at its core. And so, if you got random bread, like, I'll go throw it in the lake so that they'll have something to eat.
Why doesn't Julia ever take the bread? She's named them and stuff already.
Come to find out, those are 2 fake geese. They put them out there to fend away all the other, I don't know, birds. And I'm just out there throwing loaves of bread.
Oh my gosh.
In a random lake to 2 fake geese.
Basically littering.
Yeah. I guess I was feeding the fish, maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways.
That is hysterical.
That's like I said, I got you beat.
Yeah, that's good luck on this one, honestly. Usually, it's like, oh, well, I'm sure you did something interesting that only you could say about your weekend. But I promise you, no one else could say that they were out feeding fake geese over the weekend. How many months have you been feeding these fake geese?
It's not
the
right question is how many years.
Oh my gosh. All right, so 855-33-WAY-FM. We love having you on the show with us. That's the phone number to be part of it. 855-33-WAY-FM. Yours doesn't have to be geese related or that dumb. Sorry.
Okay, judgment.
I had to get one in. But it's something that you think only you can say about your weekend. So what do you got? 855-33-WAY-FM. You had a really long extra day on this thing, so you got to have something. 855-33-WAY-FM. What is the thing that only you can say about your weekend, Brooke?
Okay, so we had a road trip and ran into lots of road construction on the way home, and we were in a car full of my teenage kids and a girlfriend, and we were all just getting kind of slap happy because we've been in the car for too long together. So we made up a game of kind of like carpool karaoke, but you had to gurgle while humming the song.
Nice.
And have people guess it.
I love that. How much actually came out of people's mouths in the car? Because there's no way you can do that without laughing.
Right, yes. And you had to have the right amount, because if you had too much, you didn't get enough air to be able to have the sound. Right. We also found it's not as good with other liquids. It must be water, because milk just foams.
I have a coffee drink here, and
no.
I want to try this because I think it sounds like a great idea. So let me take a sip.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Help me try and guess this song, Brooke. Here we go.
Okay.
Oh, he got the coffee all over his shirt. Oh, it's brand new.
Okay, now I see what you're saying about having too much. That was too much, and it's all over me. Okay, let me try again.
Okay,
Sorry.
here we go again.
I'll do a little less this time.
Totally worth it.
Oh my gosh! I almost lost my life there.
Wait a minute. Is Desperate?
No.
Oh.
That's a good one.
Gosh, I didn't get anything out of that.
Yeah.
Did you, Brooke?
No.
That was "Don't Stop Believing" by Journey.
Oh, yes.
No,
Well,
no,
there
Brooke.
you go.
No,
I don't know.
not
if
yes.
This is the safest game to play because I literally just almost choked right there. So, but you know what? It passed a few hours of your car trip. It's worth the risk.
It did. It was fun.
So, what was unique to you?
Well, I went to a Mexican Catholic wedding of renewing their vows. I do not speak Spanish. I am not Catholic. I knew nothing going on.
But you know what? You showed up. Was it someone close to you, or was it like a coworker?
It was a real good friend of ours that's been a good friend for years.
Well, that's good then. It's good that you were there, even if you didn't understand 100% what was going on. And basically, in that situation, if people stand up, you stand up. If people sit down, you sit down.
Exactly. And then they kneeled, and then they were crying and laughing, and I was like, okay, is it over? I don't know. They walked out, and they walked back in. I didn't know a thing going on. Then afterwards, I went up, and I was trying to figure out, okay, what happened during the wedding? What was going on? Of course, none of them spoke English, so I don't know.
At some point in time, she's like, how did I end up paying for this? Well, you unfortunately, you didn't speak the language.
Donde está?
Exactly.
Monday School is a chance for Wally to share what he learned at church and prove that he went.
So the Apostle Paul gave his life to help people understand the gospel. And I mean, he dedicated his life to helping the Gentiles understand that salvation was just as much for them as it was for Jewish people. Paul even went to Antioch to settle a dispute that was going on about if the Gentiles were actually saved or not. Boy, we still debate these things. Like, who's saved, who isn't, who does this, who does that. And so a group of Pharisees shows up. They were like the uber religious people, and they tell the Gentiles, no, you're not saved unless you keep these Jewish laws. But then that famous disciple Peter actually stands up in this meeting, and he's like, yo, he talked like
He
that.
said, yo?
Yeah, he's
Okay.
like, yo, y'all, I just want to throw out a little something here for you to marinate on your dome. Yeah, he stands up and he's got Paul's back, and he says that Jesus is for the Jew and for the Gentile alike, and that Gentiles should not be bound by the Judaic law.
Okay.
That they're like grandfathered in essence, you know? And so the Pharisees show up, though, and they held the Gentiles to the letter of the law. That's why they were there. If you don't follow these rules, you're not saved. And so you've got one group that's about a genuine relationship with Jesus, and the other that is about the rules. And so the question asked in church, you know, for us is, who are we going to be? Are we going to be the people that reflect the love of Jesus to others and invite them into a relationship with him, regardless of where they are now or what they've done in the past? Or are we going to treat people like the Pharisees and remind everyone to focus on the rules and to focus on behavior modification and remind people just how broken they are and get that worked out first before they come to God? We have two very different camps inside of faith today. And which one of those is more attractive to you? I think it's kind of obvious, you know? Like if you went to work, like say you started a new job, and the first thing they did was hand you a handbook and tell you all the rules that you got to follow
Be
and do.
overwhelmed.
Yeah, and like versus one that says, hey, we're so glad you're here. Let us tell you about the culture and why we do what we do, and we want to know how you can be a part of this. Like that's the place you're going to want to work, because they're ingratiating you into the fold, so to speak, and stuff. So I think it's obvious, but man, we get it wrong so many times when it comes to church and inviting people into a relationship with God. And one of the things I've noticed, and maybe you've noticed this too, or you look for if you have like an altercation with somebody that's like super saved, you know, and like the rules are everything to them, they are some of the most miserable Christians I've ever met in my life. Now, it's not an excuse to not live your life right. You know, you can't go, grace, I'm saved, and you just keep living what you want to do. Like that's the other extreme of that that's not healthy for people either. But I've just watched people focus on the rules, and they're just unhappy. And then they make everybody else around them unhappy too. And it's like, if they could just learn to live in the grace. I think sometimes people who need a lot of grace understand grace better, you know,
and give it.
Oh, exactly. It's kind of like that story of the prodigal son. The older brother, you know, was very rules oriented and focused, and he wasn't happy, you know. And so I think that that's one of the things is, you know, if the fastest way to feel F-E-E-L your faith is to let Christ fill you, F-I-L. And I think that's one. Thank you very much. It's better in print, apparently, or on a T-shirt. But I think that is one of the ways that if you find yourself ever sliding into that legalism, that it's something to be aware of, because you should have joy in your faith. And if your faith isn't bringing you joy, then maybe look at what your faith actually looks like. So there you go. That's your Monday School for today.
Hey, Wally, do you have a minute?
Sorry, busy.
I have cake.
Oh, what do you need?
Yeah, see, that's a perfect example of, even though we are busy, we make time for what's important.
Yeah, because going back to school as an adult, you're busy with work, you've got family, but if you want to make your education a priority, trust me, you can do it. Betty did.
Like when I first started, I was super intimidated because it had been a while since I've been in school. But I mean, from the very first conversation, I felt like they were setting me up for success.
Yeah, and going back to school with CCU's flexible online courses makes it so convenient.
Yeah, and what's so cool is every class has a biblical worldview perspective. And so you think, well, how can they turn math into a biblical worldview? They find a way.
Yeah, and that was one of my jobs when I was teaching at CCU, was integrating not just the facts and figures of things, but how your faith plays into what you're going to do.
CCU offers Christ-centered higher education, transforming students to impact the world with grace and truth.
Cultivate your mind without compromising your heart. Get started today at online.ccu.edu. Colorado Christian Christian University is a nonprofit impact partner.
Let's not overthink this.
Don't think too hard about it.
It's news-ish on The Wally Show.
I'm always up on the dating trends, not for me personally, but because I have a person in my life that's in the dating world. So I like to keep up on things to help her out.
And that's where I come in. And also, when you use the word help, I see hinder.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah, it's just two different perspectives, but I try my best.
Okay.
So here's a new dating trend, Rock, that maybe, because you said, I've tried everything.
Yes.
You know, and I believe you and I understand. And so here's a new one that maybe you have not tried yet. And so it basically is not wearing makeup on first dates.
Not wearing a stitch. Okay.
No. Mm-mm.
Why?
Yeah, it's the hot new dating trend. Is you show up without doing your hair and makeup, and it's like, here's the real me, take it or leave it. Like, this is what you get. This is what you're going to see a lot of days.
I kind of get this because if they'll stick around after that, after you not having any mascara, you in a messy bun, maybe you're wearing your pajamas. If they'll still stick around after that, maybe they're in it for the long haul.
Think about it. I see you like that every day. I'm still here. Like, there are days I got to
minute.
fight through it, you know.
Wait a minute.
But I'm still here, Rock.
Wait a minute.
I'm the longest relationship you've had.
Oh, I thought I was sad. Now I'm really sad.
I know. I mean, I guess on the surface it makes sense. It's weird. It's a real 50-50 thing because there's part of you that's like, well, you still should try-ish, but then you shouldn't be defined by your makeup either, you know?
Right?
But
and I mean, here's the thing, too. When it comes to dating, guys, you could get ready in like 5 minutes.
100%.
Women, it's going to take an hour at the least.
But if a guy shows up and he's dressed like slovenly, he didn't iron something, or he just looks like he didn't put any effort into it, I think you'll make a mental note of that.
I would, unless he was like, listen, I let homeless neighbor use my he can't be a neighbor and homeless, but you get where I'm going.
I get where
like
you're going.
he needed to use my washer and dryer. Then I'd be like, oh, you sir are a hero.
Yeah, you're a saint. So anyway, so maybe you try this one out, Rock, and see how it works out. You know, just no pretenses, just here it all is.
I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah, please do. I would love to be on that date, like at a distance, to see how that went. Way FM, this is The Wally Show, and if you have seen the news stories out of Texas about the flooding around the Guadalupe River, I mean, it's just heartbreaking. At least 81 people now are confirmed dead. There's a bunch missing, 41 people still missing statewide, and then they had these camps that were there, and these girls got swept away, and there's still 11 of these girls from this Camp Mystic that are missing. I mean, it is heartbreaking to see. And I think a lot of times when this happens, especially if you have friends of yours that maybe don't know Jesus, you know, and instantly the first question when devastation happens like this, it's like, well, where's your God? Like, they want to ask that question. How could your God, that's a loving God, allow this to happen? And it can be a tough answer, you know? And so I started kind of going through some of this myself and being like, okay, if someone asked me this question, what would I respond and stuff? And I think that the Bible doesn't shy away from this question. In fact, it's actually filled with people who cried out to God in confusion, fear, frustration. There's stories all through the Bible like that. But what we learn through Scripture, and I think this is what's really important, is that God's goodness isn't proven by the absence of pain. It's by his presence in the midst of it. He doesn't shield us from tragedy. You know, we like to say that sometimes, like God protects us. The reality is, Christians, non-Christian people die. It's part of living in this world, unfortunately. But what happens inside of that? Like, God promises us. He never promised us that we wouldn't have pain. Never. And he said, in fact, you're going to.
Right.
But in that, I'm going to give you a peace that passes understanding. Things that you won't even believe you could get through. The loss of a child, the loss of a spouse, the loss of a friend, a parent, whatever it is. How people can still have peace in that is the difference between Jesus in your life and no Jesus. And I think that that's the intangible that people have a hard time understanding until you actually experience him. And that's one of the things, too, that I think it makes the story of Jesus becoming man and suffering here, not being spared the pain of this world, but being able to understand our fear, our hurt, our devastation.
Yeah, because he's experienced every single one of them. There's nothing that we can come to him and he wouldn't understand.
Exactly. And you see God's goodness and how he responds to pain, but then you also see it in people living out their faith by taking care of other people in these moments. This is one of the times where the church is amazing. Like, churches rally and they help and they get feet on the ground and they do great things. Convoy of Hope, another great ministry that we partner with that is on the ground helping people as we speak. You could feel helpless in a time like this and be like, well, I can't do anything. I can't get to Texas and help dig things out. And that's true. But Convoy of Hope can. And so if you want to support what they're doing, just text the word convoy to 91979 and we will send you a link. But faith in God's goodness, it doesn't deny that pain happens, but it still believes, even in the midst of tragedy, that God is near. And that's a really difficult thing for some people to understand. But that's why songs like Goodness of God, when you live a life that assumes that God is good, even in the midst of the bad, it helps you weather these storms, consistently in life. And so that's kind of what I want to talk about with you right now, because somebody might need to hear some of what you have to say and your perspective on this as they wrestle through this and like, well, how can this be a God thing? How can this be good? So have you ever had to trust in God's goodness when things didn't go your way? I'd love to hear your story about that. How did you get to that point? How did you trust in God when everything looked the opposite of how you would have designed it? 855-33-WAY-FM. That's 855-33-WAY-FM. We'll take your story right now. Have you ever had to trust in God's goodness when things didn't go the way you thought they should go?
Yes. So I have had 4 miscarriages, and we struggled with infertility for years. Now, the first miscarriage, I was kind of numb to it, but I trust him. This will work out for the good. And I'm actually 39 weeks pregnant now.
Oh, wow. So how many years did it take to get to that point?
6 years.
6 years, yeah. And so I'm sure at points in that journey, you were like, okay, this is not going to happen for me, God. And so I'm going to have to trust in your goodness and some sort of a plan and some sort of life that isn't going to look like the way I think it should look. Or did you be like, nope, this is going to happen. I'm trusting.
I leaned on him whenever I was in so much pain, and I didn't want to be here anymore because I'd lost yet another one. And it was hard. And
that even if it didn't go your way, I think this is the key, even if it didn't end up in a pregnancy, that you can still say God is good. That is like the next level faith that I think people struggle with. And if you can get to that point, because it's easy to praise God when things go the way you want them to go, but can you still do it when it doesn't? I think is the sign of mature faith.
Absolutely. I would listen to the song Gratitude a lot.
Oh, yes, by Brandon Lake. That is a great song. And I love that you bring that up, because there might be somebody else that needs to hear a little bit of this today and remind them of the goodness of God in the midst of kind of what they're walking through, and to be grateful for all that God has done for us and not just focus on the thing that we don't have.
And I throw up my hands and praise you again and again. 'Cause all that I have is a hallelujah, hallelujah. And I know it's not much, but I've nothing else fit for a king except for a heart singing
So what's your story, Chanel?
My story is that I am currently trusting in God in this moment, as it has been discovered that my husband had an affair. I discovered it 2 days ago.
That's fresh.
And I am right now. I still had to go and worship the Lord and lead worship and praise at my church the next day. And I'm still dropping off my kids, and I'm still going to work. I'm still holding to God, even in this moment, listening to you guys on WFM is reminding me of the hope in Jesus as I drive, that no matter what it looks like, I can look to the hills from whence cometh my help.
That's the thing, because God's goodness isn't proven by the absence of pain, because he said we're going to have pain in this life, but take heart, I've overcome this world. I've overcome the pain. And I think that it's understanding that he is present in the midst of it and learning to lean into that and to hold on to that. Sometimes that's all you can do is hold on to that, because the stuff doesn't make sense that you're going through right now.
He's faithful even in the darkness. So I just thank you guys for all that you do. And as I'm riding, my hope is I'm being reminded. So thank you for everything that you guys do.
How did you see God's goodness when things didn't go the way you thought they should go in your life?
My husband and I both went through addiction, and it was a very dark time for us. And, you know, we kept trying on our own to get clean and, you know, change our life. And, you know, we both just made a decision because we weren't going to survive, you know, spiritually and, you know, even physically anymore. We were just exhausted just to turn it over to him. And we went to treatment together, and God's been so good because today I actually work at the same treatment that I went to, and I'm able to help others, you know, get clean and turn to him, because he is what will give you the strength to get through. He is the way and the only way to change.
I think sometimes there are things that we do to ourselves, and we make choices that aren't good choices, like addiction, and we put ourselves in this place and we need help out. Other times there are things that happen that are beyond us, like a giant storm and flooding, and you find yourself caught up in this situation. God is the same God, whether we choose to put ourselves in a situation or whether we're in one, and he can still bring us peace in the midst of all of that mess, even if he doesn't skirt us around that, you know. And I think that that's hard for people to understand, is that he's not going to circumnavigate the problems of life, but he talks about walking through that valley of the shadow of death with you, you know, and that you're not alone, and that his goodness is there for you day after day, and it renews constantly. And those are some of the promises of the Bible that I think you have to remind yourself of, and some days cling to when things feel lost. And it's these truths that are found all through the songs that we play. You know, you've got The Goodness of God by Jen Johnson.
And all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Yeah.
Or Even If by Mercy Me.
I know you're able and I know you can save through the fire with your mighty hand. But even if you don't, my hope is you alone.
These are just two great reminders of God's goodness in the midst of some of the hurt of life. And so, man, if you're in that place and you're kind of struggling through some of this stuff, just lean into the songs that we're playing here, because the truths and the promises of God are woven through all the songs that we play.
This is how I became the most interesting person in the room.
So pay attention. It's news-ish on The Wally Show.
So we're joined by a special guest for this news segment, and I'm not sure why Betty Rock asked our boss Jeff in here very last minute, because I said we're doing six signs of a bad boss.
Okay, let me set the record straight, okay? No, let me set the record straight. Jeff, did I call you into the studio for this?
You did not.
She asked me to call you because she was afraid.
You're louder, right?
Yes, exactly. She was like, yeah, we should get Jeff in here for this bad boss thing.
I never said that.
And I'm like, only if you want to go through these and say that he's not a bad boss, then absolutely let's do this. So here are some of the bad boss things. We'll grade Jeff right now.
Okay.
So the coercer, the type of boss that manipulates the team to prioritize their own personal interest. Do you think that Jeff does that?
You know, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, I would give you a 10.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah,
Very,
you do really
very,
well.
very team-oriented, this guy is.
Yes.
The avoider, the guy that doesn't show up to support their team. Where do you rank him on that, since you brought him in?
Well, we had to, Does he show up for us?
Yeah.
Yes. He fights for us?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Yes!
I bring you.
He does.
Yes.
I'll give you a 9.5.
Wow, I would have gone 10 on that one, Jeff. But anyway, micromanagement. Like, we all have a micromanager. They're hard.
Yeah. No, I would say he's pretty much stayed out of our way, which is where we want him.
And how about the blamer, the type of boss that blames everybody else for stuff? Because I think that is a real bad sign of a boss. Like, if you're going to own it, even if it's not your mistake, you own it for the team.
Yeah, I would say if anything, we blame Jeff for our
We blame him
wrongs.
for everything. Yeah. So we're the bad people in this situation. So, Jeff, thank you for coming in here. And this should help your ego, too, to know that we like you. Now, this is your chance to any of these things that we've talked about. How does your boss rank?
Oh! Okay. Hit the button.
I'll take your silences, all fives. Uplifting Way FM, this is the Wally Show. And Betty Rock, when you were a kid, was there something that you really, really wanted that you're like, well, I don't have the money to get this?
A Polly Pocket.
You wanted Polly Pockets. Okay.
Do you know what those are?
I do. I had a daughter, and we played Polly Pockets.
Yeah,
And
they're
so-
like little dolls that you think about it, it's a really bad choking hazard.
Yeah.
But anyways, I guess they didn't care about that in the 90s.
No.
It was every man for himself. But it was kind of like a you opened it and then there was this own little world and her name was Polly.
Yeah, and they're like little rubber clothes. You would slide on them and stuff, and accessories, obviously. You know what? You didn't get that as a kid, but here's the thing. You have adult money now. You could go buy yourself a Polly Pocket and just relive some of your youth.
I should look and see. Do they even sell Polly Pockets anymore?
They probably have them somewhere. You probably get them on eBay if nothing else. But I think you should do that because I recently got a Lego
They
set.
do.
See? You should get it.
Oh my gosh, they've really branched out too. Now there's like aquariums.
Yeah.
What?
I just watched your face light up, Rock. You should do this.
That's pretty cool.
It's like buy something childish with your adult money. I got a Lego F1 car, a Red Bull car, because I love Red Bull F1, and I just started building it. I'm on bag 4. I finished bag 4. It comes in little bags of each section you're building, and I have 6 more to go.
Wow.
I've spent hours building it, and it's awesome.
Oh, yeah, but that takes you back to your childhood.
Exactly.
I get it.
Because I couldn't afford Lego sets when I was a kid. And they weren't great like they are now. They were just square bricks and everything you made looked like a sword or a rocket. That was it.
This reminds me about one of my recent purchases, probably about a month ago, was I saw these gel, sparkly, smelly pins,
Yeah.
but good smelling pins.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I think I need these. I need these in my life. And I still am enjoying those pins.
You got adult money. That's
Right.
it, And so that's the fun of growing up as you get to buy things that you could take you back to your childhood. So I am curious. So Betty Rock, Polly Pockets, and pens. Myself, Lego cars. What is that childish purchase that you made with adult money? Okay, maybe you always wanted a go-kart. Like I always wanted a motorcycle like when I was a kid, and I bought a dirt bike and it almost killed me and I sold it, so that was not a good purchase. But I am curious for you, what was that thing that you're like, you know what, I'm an adult now and I'm gonna use my adult money and I'm gonna buy something that reminds me of my childhood? Have you done that? 855-33-WAY-FM. That's 855-33-WAY-FM. We'll take yours right now. What is that thing that you use your adult money to buy from your childhood?
I went to Build-A-Bear and I got myself a monkey.
Nice. Did you do the whole ceremony where they put the heart in your hand and you rub it and they say things and you put it in there?
Yes, I did.
Good for
and
you.
it felt so good.
So why did you go buy a Build-A-Bear?
Because I lost my husband few years back, and I just felt like, you know what, I need something to just hold on to. And as a kid, I always liked bears in my bedroom, and so I said, you know what, why not get a Build-A-Bear? When I put my message in there, I said, you know what, you are enough, you are good, and you're never alone. And that way, I just, I know I have Christ, but then every time I would hug that little bear, I just feel like I'm not alone. I'm not by myself.
Oh, I love
and that was just my little thing.
Thank you for being on the show with us.
Thank you, and thank you for everything you guys do every day.
All right, Brittany, you're up. What is that thing from your childhood that you spend adult money on today?
So I actually still collect Hot Wheel cars.
No, you do not.
I buy die-cast cars. I have a lot of them. They come out with new sets all the time. So I'm always checking the stores and still buying Hot Wheel cars.
I love that. What got you into Hot Wheel cars as a kid?
My dad and I just started collecting them, and my grandma was in there helping too. But yeah, and I just never gave up. Just keep on collecting them.
Is your dad still with you?
He is, yeah, and he's not in it as much, but he still loves to see what I find, and we still check everything out.
It's so funny, like you've kept this collection going, and he's like, I never even really liked Hot Wheels,
Yeah.
What is that?
It was a reborn baby doll, one of those silicone ones that look realistic.
Oh, yeah, those are cool but creepy in a way.
I guess a little bit, but I always wanted one, so I bought myself one.
That is so great. How old were you when you bought it?
This was probably about a year ago, so 27.
Okay, all right. How did you explain that to friends and family?
Oh, they thought it was weird, except for my mother. She went and bought herself one, and then my daughter took over mine, so that dream was short-lived.
Now, what's so special about a reborn baby doll?
It's just the ones that look super realistic. Like, they're very detailed. A lot of them are, like, painted to where you can see their veins, fingernails, all the things.
They're the ones that if you leave them in a hot car, people will lose their minds,
Oh, yes.
They look that real.
Absolutely, they do.
Oh, what's this? An email? For me?
Uplifting WayFM. This is the Wally Show. If you ever want to email me, it's just wally@wayfm.com. That's my email. It's the one all my friends have. And plus, I love when we get emails from our potties, people that listen to our podcast, which is totally free.
Yeah, you can easily listen to it. When you text the letters TWS, that stands for The Wally Show, TWS to 91979.
So Erin is a faithful potty, and she gets the podcast for free and was trying to come by because we let potties come by and sit in on the aftercast. And unfortunately, it was while I was gone with my daughter getting married, and she said, I said, I can't do it. And she's like, oh, I totally get that. Have a great time. Congratulations on your daughter's wedding. Now you just need to marry her off to Hayden. For Betty Rock, because Betty Rock is still single. So now just get Betty to marry hypothetical Hayden.
Your hypothetical son?
Yeah, that we made up.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Well,
No.
I would never do that to Hayden.
Wait a minute.
We have this whole hypothetical son, like, because I treat my daughter like a princess. And Betty Rock years ago was like, what if you had a son? And I'm like, oh, I would treat him horribly. Like because he's not my little angel. And it just got more and more blown out of proportion. But if you listen to the podcast, that's where you get some of the inside jokes like that. This was one from Kevin. He says, hey, I want to circle back to something you were talking about. Your co-hosts were giving you grief about the point of praying while you were in the bathroom. Several decades ago, I realized that I didn't have as much time to read the Bible as I would like, so I decided the only thing that I would take in there for reading material would be my Bible. I've averaged about one full reading of the Bible per year since I was doing this for about 25 years.
That's an overshare. That's oversharing, okay?
I'm not sure about this, but I mean, he's like, look.
From one throne to another, that is overshare.
He said the thing to remember, though, it's never a wrong place to take time to pray or read your Bible. And I said, agreed, good sir. My wife claims I could read the New Testament in one sitting.
Oh, gross.
If you ever want to email me, just wally@wayfm.com. That's wally@wayfm.com.
Growing up in poverty has never been easy for children, but with the added challenges of the pandemic, conflict, and natural disasters, families around the world are facing an unprecedented food crisis. Unfortunately, those who are already hungry are now even more desperate. But by sponsoring a child through compassion, you can help provide life-sustaining essentials such as food and clean water. And with your compassionate support, that child can not only survive, but also flourish. You can find out how and choose a child to sponsor when you click on the compassion banner at wayfm.com.
Uplifting Way FM. If it's trending, streaming, or starring, Betty Rock's got it on The Rock Report.
Wally, I didn't do this much growing up, but I believe you did. You spent time at an arcade, didn't you?
Absolutely.
What was your favorite go-to arcade game?
I liked Shinobi and Kangaroo. Those are like my favorite. One was like a karate movie or karate thing, and another was a really like a kind of like a Donkey Kong, but with a kangaroo that you punch things. And I loved it.
Okay.
Popeye was good too.
Okay, interesting. All right. And I know for one, I think it was your 50th birthday.
Yeah.
We took you to a
The Flashback Arcade. It was
Yes.
fantastic.
Yes. I mean, it was a little boring for me, but I'm glad that you had a great time.
I did have a great time.
Yeah,
Thank you. I'm
that's what
surprised that you didn't do any arcade games as a
No,
kid.
I just wasn't into video games. I'm still not.
See, going to the arcade as a kid was the best because you didn't have all the home consoles and stuff on your
Yeah.
phone. You had to go to a place. You had to like save all your quarters up and then play games, and then you had to get good at it so you could play longer on your quarters. It was awesome. Track and field was another fun one for me.
Okay. Well, I want to see where you line up on this. So this is just one study, but they are ranking the top 3 best arcade games. I want to see what you think.
Yeah.
Coming in at number 3, Street Fighter 2.
I never really liked Street Fighter. That's why I liked Shinobi, but Street Fighter never did much for me.
It was because the cool kids were playing it and you couldn't.
I could never get on. Hey, my quarter's on the machine. Don't care, loser. Go. Okay. Guess I'm gonna go play Kangaroo now. No one was playing that game.
Number 2, Galaga.
Galaga. Yes, Galaga's the one where the things go and they fall down and you're on a spaceship down below them and you're trying to shoot them. And then it can grab your spaceship, then you can shoot it, and then you can have a double spaceship shooting. I loved Galaga.
And then coming in at number 1 was Pac-Man.
Yeah, I get that. That was a
Pac-Man is what
classic.
everybody loves. And if you're hearing all this and you're thinking, man, I miss those days, like Wally, I miss those days when we could go to the arcade. Well, I have some great news for you. You know Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
The kids' arena.
It's an arcade, basically.
Yeah. Well, now they're making adult arcades, okay? And it's called Chuck's Arcade.
No way.
And they just opened the first 10 locations. They are going to have the classic games. They said they'll have Mortal Kombat and Asteroids.
Yes,
but
I
they're
love
also going to have newer games like Halo.
Okay.
And what's cool too is as you play these games, you'll win tickets and you could get prizes.
Chinese finger traps. You can win those all day long.
I think that's in the kids section, but in the adult section, I wonder what the prizes would be.
Yeah, I wonder.
Like a new iPhone.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I wonder if are they gonna be their own freestanding thing, or it's part. That's weird because you've got Dave and Buster's already, which is for adults. So it's interesting that I wonder if they're going to move away from the Chuck E. Cheese.
I think they're just trying
stuff.
to create the nostalgia, bring it all back, and bring you back your old. Because Dave and Buster's doesn't have those old arcade games.
Not the old ones. They have a bunch of new high tech stuff. The thing about it is too, because you can buy a video arcade at Costco for $300, a Pac-Man arcade game. It's not the same. It's not the same as going to an old one.
Old film of cigarette smoke that's kind of winded up the screen and you're trying to see it.
Yeah, those were the good old days. If the secondhand smoke didn't kill you, the time you spent eroding your brain would. Uplifting Way FM, this is the Wally Show. We're going to play a little game called Beat Betty's Brain because it is difficult to do because you never know what's going to come out of that thing. And so the way it works is I'm going to give 5 questions to you, and Betty Rock is going to step out of the room where she cannot hear your answers. Then she's going to come back in, and I'm going to ask the same 5 questions of her. And if you get more questions right than Betty, then you will win. Betty has yet to win this game, and we've been playing for a couple years now.
But I think the reason that I haven't won is because you play against me.
I don't think so. I ask pretty common questions that most people would know, and usually people get 4 out of 5 right. You clock in at an average of half to 1 right.
And that's being generous.
So if you want to play the game, we got a prize. You can win a prize, but we love having you on the show with us. If you want to try to beat Betty's brain. A scale of 1 to 10, where are you at on your chances today? 10 being like, I'm going to win this thing and dominate. Where do you put yourself?
I'm putting myself at a confident 3.
Oh, well, there you go. It's better than I thought. So, all right, you got a good chance at winning a prize today with Beat Betty's Brain. If you want to play, 855-33-WAY-FM. That's 855-33-WAY-FM.
Beat Betty's Brain!
Uplifting Way FM, this is The Wally Show. Karen, welcome to Beat Betty's Brain, where I'm going to ask you and Betty the same 5 questions, but she's going to be out of the room so she cannot hear your answers. If you get more answers right, you have beaten Betty's brain, and you are going to win today. Are you ready?
Ready.
Well, first thing we got to do is kick Betty out. Do you want to do the honors, or do you want me to?
You better.
Okay, get out of here, loser!
Whoa.
Sorry.
Okay. Karen, don't let him talk to me like that.
I know. That's not okay for my Bucky friend.
weekend.
Okay, all right. Well, just get to the moving. Okay, here we go. So you're going to get 5 questions here, okay? And we'll see how many you get right. In which year did Columbus discover the New World?
Oh my gosh. She might beat me today. Oh my gosh, how do I not know this? 1892?
1892. Okay, I think that might be a little late. What type of animal is the North American roadrunner?
Oh my gosh. A bird.
Which of these produces royal jelly? A squid, a sheep, a spider, or a bee?
A squid.
Water is constituted of hydrogen and what other element?
Oh my gosh. Oxygen?
Who directed the movie Jaws?
Oh, I see his face. I can't even take a guess right now.
Okay, all right. Well, there you go. Let's see how you did when Betty Rock comes in. Let me wave at her because she can see me through the glass, and I'll yell too. Betty Rock! Woo! Come on in. All right, Betty is making her way back in. Karen, how do you feel that you did?
I feel today is Betty's day to win.
It might be.
I feel.
All right, Betty, you're going to get the same 5 questions as Karen. Here we go. Question number 1. In which year did Columbus discover the New World?
1492.
Okay. Question number 2. What type of animal is the North American roadrunner?
Type of animal?
Yeah, what type of animal?
A bird?
Okay. Which of these produces royal jelly? A squid, a sheep, a spider, or a bee?
A spider?
Spider, okay. You're doing great.
I don't feel like
water is constituted from hydrogen and what other element?
Oxygen.
Okay, boy, you didn't even hesitate on that. Nicely done.
Hydrogen.
And then finally, who directed the movie Jaws?
Steven Spielberg.
Spielberg, okay. Well, let's go through some answers here and see how you guys did. For when did Columbus discover the New World? Karen said 1892.
Karen!
Little late. Even Betty seemed shocked. 1492 is right.
Yay!
Betty Lou, nicely done. You guys both got that the American Roadrunner is a bird, so that's good. Royal jelly comes from, she said a squid, you said a spider.
Yeah.
It actually comes from a bee.
What?
So no point there. The other element in water, H2O. Oxygen. So you guys both got that right. So that's nice. And the final answer, unfortunately, Karen could not come up with a guess. Who directed the movie Jaws? Steven Spielberg is right.
Oh, my word.
Betty Lou missed 1 question.
Whoa. Wow, Karen, you were right.
Congrats.
Karen, that is so sweet. Thank you.
I knew it was your day. I've just felt it.
I really needed this win.
You did, didn't you?
I did.
Well, there you go. Well, congratulations, Betty Lou. Karen, we have a lovely parting gift for you because you are a delight and a doll, and we appreciate you not beating Betty's brain in.
And now for some good news.
Uplifting Way FM. This here is the Wally Show. A little good news. Giddy up, a little roundup of some good news stories because the regular news can be a bit of a bummer. This was kind of cool. There was a kid in Chicago who missed his high school graduation because he was waiting on a heart transplant.
Oh.
So he's on the list. He's, not doing well. And so he's, going to have to wait for this thing. And so officials threw him his own graduation at the hospital because he had done all his work despite his health issues, got his schoolwork done in time. So they figured that he deserved to have an official ceremony as well.
That's awesome. Now, had that been me, I don't think they would have gone to that trouble because,
No.
I remember when I graduated from high school, my parents, they were like, take the diploma and run before they changed their mind.
Before they realized there was a clerical error. When I graduated, teachers clapped. Like, they're like, oh, good, he's gone.
Ready to see him go.
We're done with this guy. So, good news, Giddy up. What do you got, Rock? Go.
Well, mine also has to do with a kid, a 4-year-old. Her name is Kendall in Tennessee. She actually saved her teacher's life. She was
really?
She was at daycare when her teacher had a seizure and she stopped breathing, but she immediately ran and got help. And her mom heard about it later that day when she picked her up and someone said, she's our hero.
Oh my
Which is so
gosh.
sweet. It kind of reminds me of my kindergarten teacher. She had asthma, which I didn't understand and I didn't know, but I just remember we were about about to go to recess, and she was like, all right, everybody line up. Let's go to recess. And she like took a puff from her inhaler.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, I hear a loud bang. She had fallen, she had fainted, and her head hit the trash can.
Oh.
Now, what did I do?
Yeah, were you a hero like this other little girl?
Not at all. I was like, while she's down, where does she keep the treats? Where does she keep the snacks? That's what I want to know. But I do remember some other girls in my class, they did run down the hallway to our principal.
Okay.
And he handled it.
You're still rifling through the drawer.
Well, that's true. Yeah, I was like got a handful of Cheetos in one hand. I'm like, I'm not doing anything.
It's what Miss Emily would want. She would not want me to starve. And you're the same way to this day. It's hard to believe, but we are over halfway through the year now. Hey, it's the Wally Show on Uplifting Way FM, and I just got to ask, how's your heart? How you doing over there? You good?
It's hanging in there.
Yeah, that's
What
good.
about yours?
My heart's good. It's kind of a train wreck here and there, but I think that's why maybe at this point in time in the year, it's like good to do a little reset of your life, your faith, your priorities, all of that stuff.
Exactly. And if you don't know where to start, you should start with Way FM's exclusive 7-day reset. What you do is you say, hey, you know what? I'm going to listen to Way FM for 7 days straight, and I'm going to see how God can help me reset my relationships, my outlook on life, reset my mood, and reset my life. You'll be amazed at when you start paying attention to the lyrics that are said in the songs that you hear through Way FM, the difference it can play in your life. You're also, when you're listening to Way FM for 7 days straight, you're going to also be a part of the world's biggest small group study. And it's all exclusive just for you when you text the word reset to 91979. That's reset to 91979.
Do you know why we do 7 days?
No, Wally, tell me.
Because we know you lack commitment, and we all do. And so we're going to limp into this a little bit because hopefully you start to build a habit, over time. But like sometimes it's like, well, you got to do this for 30 days. Like, that's a lot. Like, I can't even commit to that right now.
You can't do his chair yoga for 30 days.
I did not. It lasted 3. And so, that was it. And I tried, and it was not fun. And so maybe setting a more realistic goal of 7 days, just to make this low impact on you, unlike my chair yoga, you can go through this and just listen to Way FM, fill your heart and your soul with this music and see what it does in your life, see how it changes you. And then if you feel like combining that with the world's biggest small group Bible study, you got a win-win there, And again, it's a really low commitment of time, but could have a big payoff by joining our 7-day reset.
Reset to 91979. That's reset to 91979. Well, that's the end, but it doesn't have to be. Check out our Aftercast. It's new stuff you didn't hear in the podcast. Be sure to rate us on iTunes as well as connect with us on social media. Just search Wally Show. And if you'd like to join our Facebook group made exclusively for you potties, the link is in the description of this podcast. Thanks to Colorado Christian University Online for supporting what we do.